We're coming to you from the National Jazz Museum in Harlem to kick off our Move and Groove virtual sessions. My name is Tressa, this is Courtney, and we are founders of Move and Groove Yoga.
Move and Groove Yoga is a wellness initiative that seeks to build community through events focusing on music, movement, and meditation practices.
We have been in partnership with the National Jazz Museum for over 4 years. They've helped us bring this wonderful experience to life by providing space and, most importantly, musicians.
This is a breath and movement practice for all bodies and all levels. Go at your own pace and honor yourself.
So welcome to our virtual experience. 2020 has been an eventful year, and we hope that you and your families are safe and well.
Thank you to the museum and our lineup of teachers and musicians. We miss you dearly and can't wait to practice with you again in person.
Until then, grab a mat, clear a space, and enjoy.
Namaste.
Hey guys, my name is Arthur. Thanks for joining in for practice today. I'm teaching here from Brahmin Yoga Studios up in Harlem, so we're happy to have you. Namaste. So we're going to come to our mats, and we're going to find a wide knees child's pose, because we are going to be moving into our hips today. So separate the knees about the distance of the mat, bring the big toes together to touch. And we'll start by just taking the sit bones onto the heels. And once we get to that mat, we'll start to get equated with the breath, the body, ready to breathe. We'll take a deep breath in. Use a full exhale to bring the chest right in between the thighs. Maybe take the forehead to the ground. And we'll start by breathing into the shoulder blades. Maybe letting them round up towards the ceiling. And as we breathe out, elongate the spine. Drop the chest onto the floor. Maybe take the forehead down to the mat. And when you arrive in this child's pose, again, breathe. If you have a practice with an Ujjayi breath or even any kind of deeper breathing practice, invite that in here. Good. Now take the palms of the hands onto the floor. Take your gaze in between those hands and then use the muscles of the arms to slide the full body down onto the mat. Walk the hands to frame both the right and left side of the chest. And then ground the palms of the hands into the earth, lift the chest and the chin up towards the sky. This is Cobra pose. And then as we exhale, turn the hips onto the heels, pressing back into child's pose. Let's do that one more time. Press the palms of the hands into the mat, slither on forward. See if you can come directly into your Cobra pose. And then on the exhale, tuck the toes. Come into all fours. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, and we'll move into some cats and cows. So on the inhale, drop the belly, rise to the tailbone, and lift the chin and the chest up towards the sky. Take a full exhale to round in. Gaze goes in towards the navel. Shoulders spread to the sky. And we'll start with just those simple movements of coming up and down with our breath. And then maybe add some movement within the hips, if that feels good, circling them around, maybe with the shoulders. Maybe invite the neck along for the ride. No real rules here. You can find whatever you need, especially in the spine. And then when you're ready, we're going to come and settle back into a neutral spine. We'll tuck the toes, lift the hips, move into a downward facing dog. Now this first downward facing dog might be slightly short just because we came from all fours. So let's make the adjustment by walking the hands forward, coming into a plank pose, bringing the shoulders right over the hands. And once you arrive, maybe take a small lift of the tailbone and then press into the heels. breaths here. One more inhale. Let the exhale, let the knees buckle right above the mat so you're floating. The core will be active. And then as you inhale, let the hips rise, press into the heels, move back into that downward facing dog shape. Now that we have a nice length in that downward facing dog, go ahead and pedal through the feet. Find some movement here, maybe again sway the hips from side to side. Doing what comes naturally based on your own intuition, your own needs. And we'll slow down the movement so it's more simple. And we'll get a little steadier in this downward facing dog. Let's take a breath in here. And send a breath up the spine into the hips, so maybe the crown of the head gets a little heavier down towards the mat. Then on the inhale, we're going to lift that right leg right high towards the ceiling. Bend the right knee and then stack both the right and left hip on top of each other. Now we want to square off the shoulders, so press the right armpit down towards the mat and then lengthen the right leg. On the exhale, simply draw that knee into the chest, shoulders over the wrist. And then we'll take an inhale to lift the shin away from the ground. An exhale to step the right foot in between the hands, and then lower the left knee down. Untuck the back toes, and then straighten through the right leg. We're going to come into a half split here, also known as Ardha Hanumanasana. And we're going to continue those cats and cows here. So on the inhale, lift your gaze up high. And then as you exhale, see if you can walk the fingertips slightly forward as you round in towards that right knee. And we'll take that pulsation 2 more times. So lift up. When you exhale, you're moving the belly away from that right thigh so you can further fold down towards the mat. One more time, lift up. And then on the exhale, we're going to take the sole of the foot down onto the mat, the sole of the right foot. Tuck the left toes and lift the left knee. We're going to come into that runner's lunge. And then send your gaze into a single point of focus. Walk the hands slightly forward. Lift the left leg about the same height as the left hip. Take a deep breath in here. On the exhale, bend that knee. Softly bend the right. And then land the left foot next to the right, coming into your forward fold at the front of the mat. And then as we inhale, send the arms in opposite directions, press into the feet. Come into Urdhva Hastasana. And then we'll land with the hands right into the heart. And then the palms by your sides for Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all the breath out into the heels. Inhale, rise the arms up, take the chest to the sky. And then full breathe out to collapse the upper body down onto those sides. So you have a nice deep bend in the knees. And then we'll use the inhale to lift the tailbone. Take the forehead to the knee and find a little bit of stretch throughout those hamstrings. On the exhale, let's step the right leg back. Drop the right knee down. This time we're just going to keep the arms by our sides and slowly look up. We'll take an inhale in. The exhale will draw that left knee further forward, deepening the stretch in the right thigh. And then on the exhale, bring both hands to the mat. Lift the left leg all the way back. Let's find downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, move into plank pose, and let's go knees, chest, and then chin. Fly the heart away for upward facing dog, and then move the hips to the back of the room for downward facing. Moving to the left side now, rise to the left leg. Bend the left knee, stack the hips right on top of each other. Drop the left shoulder down. Extend the left leg. Exhale it into the chest, shoulders over the wrist. Take your inhale to lift further away from the ground, and then step the left foot next to the left hand. Right knee down. Inhale to straighten through the left leg. And let's come back into that half split. Inviting those pulsations in. Again, I'll let you breathe, and I'll breathe with you. On the inhale, rise to the chest. And on the exhale, fold. Twice more. Last round. On the exhale, ground those feet down on the mat. Walk the hands slightly forward. Lift the right leg about the same height as that left hip. Now bend both knees softly. Step the right foot next to the left. Let's come all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana once again. Again, landing with the hands in the heart. And then fully breathing out so the hands come by our sides. So that was nice. So we're just warming up the hamstrings here. So from here we're going to move into Chandra Namaskar. On the inhale, rise to the arms. Take your gaze with you. On the exhale, fold. Leading with the right leg, step it all the way back. Low kneeling lunge. This time we'll take the arms to the sky. On the exhale, bring both hands to the mat. Let's step the left leg back. Downward facing dog. Roll the upper body forward. Let's find plank. Knees, chest, chin. Cobra as we rise. Downward facing dog as we breathe out. Right knee just comes right back into the chest. Step the right foot in between the hands. Now I want to create a little bit of buoyancy in that left knee so it can just float on forward into the forward fold. Take the arms to the top and then let's bring them into the heart. On the inhale, rise. On the exhale, fall. Left leg steps back, drop that left knee. Rise through the arms, take the gaze to the ceiling. On the exhale, bring both hands to the mat. Right leg steps back, now we're in down dog. Come back into your plank. Find your flow. Downward facing dog. Simply drag that left knee into the chest as you bring the shoulders over the wrist. The gaze is right between the hands until we step the left foot. Right there. Take the hop forward and find your forward fold at the front of the mat. Rise on up. Tadasana. Same flow, this time with a little shoulder opener. Arms rise up and back. Hands fold behind the spine. With those hands connected, you can draw the palms of the hands down towards the earth. Go ahead and put a little action in the biceps and the forearms so they're nice and strong. And then keep that action as you fold the chest onto the thighs. Take a deep breath in. Clear out the belly so you can fold even deeper. Just a few breaths here in the shoulder open. So we're going to have a little practice with balance here. Leading with the right leg, peel the right heel up off the ground. Keep your gaze locked towards the mat, and then slowly set the right foot back. Drop the right knee, and then keep that bind as you send the gaze to the sky. Take an inhale. Take an exhale, draw that left knee further forward. And then we'll breathe out to bring the hands onto the mat. Left leg is going to move right to the sky for down dog with a split. And then we'll move it to the core a little bit here. Left knee into chest, shoulders over the wrist, and then bring it back nice and high. tap the same side elbow. And then once it connects, see if you can lift it up towards the armpit. And then let's bring it back to the sky. Move that knee over to the right elbow. Hold. On the exhale, bring it back. Good. Step the left foot next to the right. Inhale into plank pose. Let's move through our first Chaturanga. So take a deep breath in, press the earth away. On the exhale, bend the elbows at a 90-degree angle. Let the elbows hug the rib cages, pause halfway. On the inhale, flip the feet, lift the chest. Let's find that upward lift in the spine. We'll linger here. On the exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Bend the knees, send your focus right in between the hands. And let's play with walking towards a half lift. And then we'll just breathe out for the forward fold. Rise the arms on up. And then back into your mountain pose. Take a moment in this mountain pose to feel the effects of what we've just done in the body before we move on to the opposite side. Good. Fly the arms up nice and high. Bind the hands behind the spine. Maybe switch which thumb rests on top. Usually it's the less dominant thumb. And then lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Breathe out to fold forward. Good, let's just take a few breaths. Take a look down at your mat. See if you can find a single point of focus as we practice lifting the left heel right up off the ground. And then slowly step it all the way back, landing in a lunge, and then into a low kneeling lunge. Chest lifts up towards the sky. Find that beautiful back bend here. Good, press the front knee forward on the exhale. And then we'll bring both hands back onto the mat. The right leg is just gonna lift to the sky, down dog, with a split. Let's find that core in with the knee. Back to the sky. Same side elbow tap and then hold. Slide it to the armpit. And then back to downward facing dog. Move it over to the left elbow, tap and then hold. Let's just breathe. Fly the leg to the sky. And let's come to down dog. So we're gonna come into this Chaturanga, so maybe find a little articulation with the spine, so we're making a wave until we land into that plank pose. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, find your heart rising towards the sky. This is upward facing dog. Take a breath in. Take a breath out, downward facing dog. Very good. Bend the knees. Now take the gaze beyond the hands. Let's see if we can lightly hop the feet to the front of the mat. We'll breathe the upper body out for a forward fold. And then we'll rise up to stand. Let's move into Sun A. Arm rise up high. Hands fall down low. Come into that upper body lift in your half lift. And we'll just start by bringing the hands down to the ground. You want to spread your fingers pretty wide here. This creates a lot of surface space. Your foundation should be strong, so you can build a really nice building. So tilt forward, maybe find a float back, Chaturanga, upward facing, downward facing. So we're going to do 2 more rounds of that. If you find that you need to walk back, go ahead and let that be your practice today. Bend the knees, look forward. Lightly step or float. Rise the arms up high. Hands right into the heart. Let's keep it going. Rise. Fall. Inhale to lift. Exhale, Chaturanga. Upward facing into your downward facing. 3 breaths. Bend those knees, send your focus between the hands. Pulse forward. Inhale up. Hands into the heart. Palms by your sides. Fly high. And then bow. Half lift. And then let's jump on back, Chaturanga. Lift the chest off the floor, firm the thighs. Draw the shoulder blades back, look right towards the ceiling. On the exhale, hips move to the back of the room. Downward facing dog. We're going to take the right leg to the ceiling. We're going to step it all the way through the hands, coming into a runner's lunge. And then from runner's lunge, take the fingertips and reach them towards the back edge of the mat. Have the palms face the earth. And we're going to reach them towards the back of the room. This will firm the core and lift the chest. Take an inhale to rise the arms into high crescent lunge, maybe a little bit of a back bend. Take the exhale to come back into neutral. On the exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Walk them slightly forward. We'll come back into your supported warrior number 3 stance. Now bring the palms of the hands onto the mat. If you can, lift that left leg a little bit higher. This will be standing split. Maybe finding an internal rotation with that left knee. And then on the exhale, just draw it into the chest. And then drop it next to the right. Take a forward fold. And then from here, let's heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. The heels will turn in, the feet will turn out, and the sit bones just come low. Will be in Malasana, or very deep squat. And once you have that Malasana position, connect the elbows right to the knees, and then use the knees to press back into the elbows to create a little resistance. So you can find a nice long spine here. If this is comfortable for you, I challenge you to close your eyes so you can feel what's going on within the body. We'll just spend one more breath here. Breathe in. And as we exhale, bring the hands to the floor. Go ahead and just drop the head down to the ground. Lift the hips up towards the sky and just take a wide-legged forward fold. Good. Now we're just going to breathe into the shoulder blades. Come up to stand. Turn the heels in and turn the feet out. high squat, high malasana. Arms lift up. Elbows bend, chest rises towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold. Walk the feet in so they're about the same width as the mat. Take a half lift, and then let's find our flow back. Chaturanga. Rise the chest. And then down dog. Right knee comes in. Right foot in between the hands. Left knee down. Straighten through that right leg. We're coming back into a half split. Stretch out that hamstring. All you have to do here is breathe. Good. Bring the sole of the foot back onto the mat. Press the hands onto the floor as it frames. Kick back into your plank pose. From here, buckle the knees. Push back. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Left leg rises as we inhale. The exhale will step it all the way in between. We'll come into that runner's lunge. And then we'll fly those arms by our sides. Use them to pull just the chest, not the belly, away from the thighs. And then we'll reach those fingertips forward. And then up, we'll come into a high lunge. Maybe a little bit of a back bend here. Good. Reach the hands back, forward, land them onto the mat. Find your supported variation of that warrior number 3 pose. And then see if you can get the hands a little further onto the ground. Find a little bit higher lift with the right leg. Standing split. Be neutral with the neck. Let it just hang. And lift a little higher. And then drag it in. Good. Let's just come up to stand this time. Reach the arms up to the ceiling and then drop the hips low. Chair pose. In this chair pose, inhale sends the tailbone to the back of the mat. The exhale lowers that sit bones further down towards ground. And we'll take another inhale just to find a lift in the spine before we fold to the mat. Take a half lift here. And then breathe all the way out for your forward fold. Bring the hands to the mat. Let's find our jump back. Upward lift. Down dog. The left knee just comes into the chest. Clear space to step in between the hands. And let's come back into our half split. Breath here. On the exhale, take that left foot down to the mat. Step it all the way back, plank pose. This time we will move through a flow. And we'll pause in this upward lift. Press the tops of the feet down into the mat. Activate the thighs, but see if you can let the glutes be relaxed. And then send the energy up the core, into the chest. And then up to the sky. On the exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. walk the hands back towards the feet. And we'll just hang very heavy at the back end of our mat. 3 rounds, arms rise, sit low, chair pose. On the exhale, fold. Once again, arms rise, sit low. And then on the exhale, fold. This last one has about 5 breaths in it. So we're going to keep the hips low, reach the arms back to the sky, sitting in this chair pose. And that is 5. And then that is 4. 3. 2. And last breath in. Connect the chest to the thighs, release, take a forward fold. Inflate the upper spine, find yourself in a half lift, and then take that gaze to the very front edge of the mat. And then see if we can walk our hands back into a plank pose. From plank pose to Chaturanga. Let's find that rise. And then let's find downward facing dog. This time let the right leg lift. Step it all the way through the hands. We'll turn that left heel down at a 45. Degree angle. We're going to pause here. Now as we inhale, we're going to inflate the arms forward. Using no momentum to rise, using just our core into this warrior number 1 pose. We'll take the shoulder opener by drawing the hands behind the spine, lengthening through the right leg, finding a little back bend here as you drag the hands down the back of the thigh. Take an inhale. Take an exhale to fold the right shoulder onto the right thigh. And keep that extension in the arms, especially in the biceps and the forearms. See if you can squeeze the palms of the hands together. And then once all those pieces are connected, drop the head. If this feels good, right shoulder to the inside of that right thigh. And then breathe. On the exhale, bring the hands down to frame that right foot. Pop the left heel up. Drop the left knee. We're going to come back into Anjaneyasana. Let's find a really beautiful back bend. Our spine should be a little warm now. So wave on back. One more breath. On the exhale, hands to the ground. We'll step the right leg to the sky for down dog with a split. Stay with me here as you bring that knee right into the chest. And then send it over to the left elbow, tap. Extend the right foot out to the left side of the mat. Turn the left heel down. We're coming into fallen triangle. Lift the hips high. Draw the shoulder blades together. Left arm up. On the exhale, revolve back to down dog with the split. Come to down dog. Let's keep the spine moving, so we'll come to plank pose. We're going to lower down knees, just and gentle. Slide on up, finding your upward facing dog. And then back, downward facing. Left leg rises on that inhale. Breathe it all the way through. Create the foot set up for warrior number 1, and then pause. Send the arms forward as you rise. Take an exhale to settle in. The hands will bind behind the spine. Create that opening in the shoulders by straightening through the left leg and then drawing the hands down as we rise to the chest. Take an inhale. Take an exhale, bend the left knee. Left shoulder to left thigh. The arms are active. Feels good, drop that left shoulder to the inside. And then submit to gravity, let it help you. And now we'll bring the hands back to frame the left foot. Pop the right heel up off the ground, let's find that back bend here in Anjaneyasana. The more you anchor down with that top of the right foot, the more extension you put in that left knee, the more ability you have to balance and support the spine as you move on back. Don't forget to breathe. One more breath here. Find your release. The left leg flies really high, down dog with a split. The left knee comes into chest, shoulders over the wrists. Tap the right elbow. Extend the left leg. Come back into your fall and triangle. Exhale, revolve. Down dog with a split. Let's come into down dog. Move the body forward. Knees, chest, chin. Find that lift in the chest. And then come to sit on your heels. Once you arrive onto the heels, let's just take a moment, bring one hand to the heart, bring the opposite hand to the belly. And in this way, we're just getting acquainted and back to our breath. Let's draw in a deep inhale. Send the exhale down to the floor. Walk the hands back forward. Let's come into downward facing dog. So simple warrior number 2 flow. Right leg lifts up. Step the right foot all the way in between the hands. Turn that left heel down. We'll cartwheel up into warrior number 2. So I'm going to see if you can feel the shoulders level off, the biceps activate. And send the energy through the forearms out into the fingertips as you take your gaze or your drishti right beyond the hands. And then we'll flip the front palm, reach it forward, tilt it all the way back for peaceful warrior. And then straighten through the right leg. Take a hold of that right hip with the left hand. Use that to draw the hips towards the back of the room as you extend the right fingers to the very top of the mat. Take an exhale here. clear out the space to bring the right hand to the ground, left arm to the sky for Triko Nasana triangle pose. We want to get the shoulders and the hips to stack right on top of each other. And then bend that right knee. Take a slow inhale to come back into peaceful warrior. And then let the exhale settle you in side angle pose. Forearm across the thigh. Left arm actively reaching towards the ceiling. Maybe you can take the gaze up to that left hand. Good, reach up and then back, find peaceful warrior. Find your cartwheel down into your lunge. So we've practiced supported warrior number 3. We're going to move into the full variation now. So walk the hands forward. Let's start with supported. Hands right underneath the shoulders. Left leg about the same height as the left hip. And then from here, we'll start to peel each fingertip away from the mat. The first place they land is in the heart space. If this starts to feel good, maybe you can float them by your sides. Or reach them forward, find as much length in the spine as you can. And your full variation of warrior number 3. Take an inhale. Take an exhale back to standing split. Step the left foot all the way back. Drop the left knee. Once again, let's come into a half split. Good. We'll drop that sole of the foot back onto the mat. Transitioning back into your downward facing dog. We'll just take a deep breath in. And then breathe it right out of the mouth. Let the left leg fly. Step it in between the hands. Create your setup for warrior number 2. And then go ahead and cartwheel all the way up. Land. And then breathe. The left fingertips reach towards the front edge of the mat. Flip the palm and then arc back. Straighten through the left leg. Take the right hand to that hip. And then pull the hips back. Reach the left fingertips forward. And then release. Trikonasana. Triangle pose. One bend of that knee, and then sweep back into peaceful warrior. The exhale lands you into a side angle pose. We'll come back up, finding the warrior number 2. Cartwheel those hands down for the release. Pop the right heel up. Walk the hands forward, supported variation. And then play. Let the fingertips leave the mat, let them come into the heart. Let them come by your side. And reach forward. Exhale, plant that right foot all the way back. Bring the both hands to frame that foot. Let's just step back to downward facing dog. Good. Just one more breath here. And a breath out. We'll start to move into our cool down. So we'll pull the right knee into the chest. No hip opening clasp is final without pigeon pose. So right ankle crosses to the left side, left and right knee tap onto the mat. We'll slide that left leg back so we get the right hip a little closer to the ground. And then we'll slide the hands to frame our hips. And then we'll use that pressure into the earth to find the longest spine we can create. And then when you're ready to exhale, slowly travel so you can make the decision to stop where it feels good, or to test your boundaries and to go a little deeper. And this is a hip opener. You're said to open up a lot of emotional spaces for you. So if you can just take this opportunity to close your eyes and feel what's going on in your body, what's going on in your mind. Breathe. Exploring for places that you could soften, you can release. Watching the expressions on our face. I'll give you a few breaths here. Slowly as you can, start to peel the heart away from the ground. Bring your hands underneath you for support. We'll tuck the left toes and then press into the left heel. This will lift the left knee away from the ground. Simply slide that right foot from underneath and then come into downward facing dog. Feel the right leg. Don't move it just yet. And then lift it up to the sky. And then move that knee in some small circles just to warm back up the hip. Bring the blood flow back. And as we exhale, we'll land in that downward facing dog. Breathe out. Left knee comes into the chest. Left ankle across to the right. Both knees tap. Slide back with that right leg. Bring the left hip further to the mat. Again, tip the fingers by your sides, lift up. And then on the exhale, we're just going to fold and release. I talked you through the last round. But this round, I just want you to hear the sound of your own breathing. So take a deep breath in. Continue to breathe. One more breath here. Slow exhale to lift the chest. And inhale to tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. Slide back into your downward facing dog. And this is our very final downward facing dog. So go ahead and find a place that feels really good for you here. See if you can settle into that space. Close the eyes. have trust that your hands and feet are going to support you for the next few rounds of breathing. And then just be. Just a few more breaths. Inhale. Maybe make the exhale audible. Breathe out of the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. One last breath in. On the exhale, drop the knees. Spread them wide. Walk the hands back. Child's pose. From child's pose, simply come to sit on those heels. I'm just going to drop the sit bones over to the left side. Extend the legs out in front of us. Have the soles of the feet onto the mat. We'll start by sitting up nice and tall. And then from here, we'll take those hands underneath the knees. And then take the slowest recline back. So your full spine is down on the ground. We have one more back bend to go into. Or two, depending on your choices here. The first one, you want to make sure that the heels of the feet are about hips width distance, and then close enough to the fingertips where you can tickle at the heels. The palms of the hands will actively press and engage into the mat, firming up the forearms as we lift the pelvis to the sky. This is bridge. We'll take an inhale to see if we can breathe into the pelvis, but keep that breath going all the way into the chest so it lifts further away from the ground. Maybe the chin tucks in slightly so the back of the neck gets a little bit of a stretch as well. And then we'll take the exhale to put the hips back onto the mat. So for the second round, you have two choices. You can come into this bridge pose. Or if it feels good, you can take the hands, the fingertips facing the shoulders, press the palms of the hands into the mat, and then press the pelvis away from the floor. From here, engage the hands into the mat, lift the chest up nice and high. This will be wheel pose. And once you come to wheel, find some movement, find a sense of expression, play around. We'll spend a few more breaths here. And then we'll come on down. Bring the full spine back onto the floor. Bring the knees into the chest. Bring the forehead to the knees. Switch the grip so it's just over the right knee. And then extend that left leg forward. On the exhale, we'll take a twist by dropping that right knee over to the left side. Our natural intuition here is to lift the right shoulder off of the ground to support that right knee touching the mat. But let's change it up a little bit. Drop the shoulder back onto the ground. And then take the left hand to that right knee. And then see if you can just invite it to the ground over time. breath in. Take the exhale to bring both knees back into the chest. Extend the right leg. Bind the left knee. And just take it over to the opposite side. And then make those adjustments. And breathe. Take in a sip of air and then release back to center. Draw both knees back into the chest, connect the forehead to the knees one last time. And on the exhale, extend the legs out in front of you. Bring the palms by your sides. Take a breath in. Shavasana. Start to leave Shavasana. Take a breath into the belly. Let it rise into the chest. And as it exhales, let it explore the body, landing into the fingertips, the toes. And start to use that energy to reawaken the body. Find a little bit of a stretch. Transition over into a fetal position. I encourage a few breaths here. And then slowly rise up to sit. Find your easy sit, Sukhasana, or maybe even Virasana. Find that straight spine. We've practiced that all practice. So let's utilize that to sit up nice and tall. And then we'll bring the hands right into the heart space. And create the sound of Om. Let's draw in a deep breath in. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining us for practice today. Have a great one.